Hi Sugartones, here I am just to do that makeup tutorial like I promised you. So first off, before you get started, just make sure that you have washed and cleansed your face. You exfoliate because you don't want your makeup to just sit on top of dead skin. That will just look flaky and cakey, and that's not what we're trying to achieve here. So make sure that you hydrate, so a nice lightweight moisturizer to start with, and that will help prep your skin for the makeup application. We are going to be doing a show style or performance style night out makeup tutorial today. If you are interested in doing like an everyday type makeup, then let me know. I will post one of those as well. So right now I am just doing some lymphatic drainage. This is also a good practice for you to do. You can buy these little brushes on Amazon, and I will link all of the things that I'm using today in the description on this video. So if you want to purchase anything, you can do so after we're done. Okay, so the first step in our makeup application is priming. So this is a Laura Geller Perfecting Primer, and I'm just going to add a little bit. I'm going to start with my eyes because we're going to do those first, and then I'm just going to spread the rest of it all over the rest of my face. This is really going to help your makeup just sit really well on your skin. It's going to help it stay. It is an important step, so don't forget this. And Laura Geller has an amazing line of makeup for women who are over the age of 40 or 50, and I will link all those in the profile at the end too. So I'm now applying some under eye patches to my eyes. These are the Stella and Grace gold patches. You can get them on Amazon, and they will help give you just a little lift, as well as catch any fallout from the shadows that we'll be applying. And we will be using some dark shadows, so I do like to use under eye patches to catch that and just prevent me having to do a lot of cleanup in the end. So I'm starting by putting a concealer on my eyes. Now this concealer that I used is a Makeup Forever HD concealer. It is about 2 shades lighter than my actual skin tone. And the reason why I do that is because I want to really lift those shadow colors. Those pigments will really show up when we have a really, really light base for them. So I am using the Makeup by Mario palette. It is fantastic for every day as well as night out. It's a very neutral palette. We're going to be using the very lightest shade and the gray shade today. I've chosen a very dense shadow brush to apply the shadow color to my eyelids, and I am going to dab it into that lightest color, give it a little tap on the side. That'll help some of the powder just fall off, and then you're going to stipple the color into your eyelid. Now, by stippling, we are getting a more concentrated color or pigment. When we brush it on, we're basically not getting as concentrated of a color. Anytime you put any shadows, any powders, anything on your face, I want you to understand the importance of using a clean brush to go over, swipe it off. So it's like we put it on and then we take it off. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but you have to do that every time, or else your colors just won't look blended and natural. So you're going to apply the color and then use a clean brush like you saw me do to take it off. So now I'm going into that color that's closer to my actual skin tone. It's like a peachy kind of color. It's the next shade on the Makeup by Mario palette. And I'm just going above the lid into the rest of my eye, just to kind of really make it look like there's some foundation there too. I don't have a completely white eye. The white is going to be more concentrated on the actual lid itself. So this is an actual highlighter brush, or it's known as a highlighter brush, but I like to use it as my crease brush, and I'm using that gray color there. Tap it off, like I said before, just to make sure that we don't have too much pigment on that brush. And you can see the shadow that naturally is created by the light just above my crease line, and that's where we're going to start with this brush. Now, I like to use a more like a highlighter brush as opposed to an actual crease brush, because I find you have more control with it. You can really get in there and not go too overboard with the application of the shadows. Now, when I am adding this, I'm actually going about 1/3 of the way across my crease line. Just above the crease line actually, and then into the corner of the eye as well. So if you can just imagine like making a little Pac-Man, that's what we're doing. And I am going over, now you can always build, but it's harder to take away. So just, you don't need to add any more color to your brush. Your brush has enough on it already. You can just keep going over and over. And then, like I said, just go in with that clean brush. We're always swiping out. So you could see I was applying it in an inward motion, but when I am going to swipe it, I'm swiping outwards. And the reason why is because I don't want some of those dark shadows to like hit the corner of my nose or the inner corner of my eye. I really want to make sure that I'm focusing that concentration of color on the outer corner of your eye. And that's just going to help really make sure that we stick to the areas where that darker color should be. So I am just going over this again and again. I'm now using a actual crease brush to blend. Blending is so important. That's the one makeup mistake that I think a lot of people make, is they don't blend their shadows enough. And you can, just keep going through these steps and blending. We don't want to get a muddy look, so we're going to use a clean brush to swipe it out. We're going to use a clean brush to blend, and then just, Also, make sure you're keeping your eyes open when you're applying your crease shadow, especially if you have hooded eyes. So I am just going through with that blending brush again and just making sure that I'm doing some circular motions to make sure if I got any areas that were not touched on the crease line, that I'm doing that. I'm also using my other hand to pull up any of my eyelid skin. We get some crepey skin around the age of 45, 50, and you will need to use your hand to help you make sure that you get a nice clean line on your crease. So now I'm just going with a little bit of that color that's left on that highlighter brush, and I am just going along the outer bottom to just give it a bit more of a smoky eye, and just make sure that it kind of ties in together. Okay, so we'll go and with that clean brush, sweep it out again just to help smooth some of those creases or that crease line. Our next step is to add some of that shimmery powder. Now this is a Too Faced fairy dust powder. It is a really nice sparkly, looks like diamonds, so it'll go in tune with our theme. I'm using my finger to apply it, and I am going to start at the center of my eyelid and go into the inner corner of my eye. So I'm avoiding the outer corner because that's where our dark shadow is, and I want to have that like definition there. So go, and yeah, so you can apply, again, I'm stippling this on, and that is going to help make sure that the color is concentrated. If I were to brush this on, you barely see any of that shimmer, and I kind of want to have a nice glammy look for the performance, so that's why we want to have a higher concentration of color. So I'm actually going to clean up some of that blending in from that crease line. I just went a little higher than I wanted to. So I'm going in with that nudie color again and just going to help clean up around the brow bone, just to make sure that I'm happy with how that, that blending is. All right, and again, we're going to sweep all of that color off with our clean brush. And if you want to add a little bit more shimmer, you can do that now that our eyes are all cleaned up. Okay, so next up is our brows, and fortunately for me, I do not have to worry about my brows for the next 3 years because I just finished my second appointment for my microblading this yesterday actually. That's why they're so dark, but after 10 days when they're fully healed, they will look nice and natural. So I will map out my brows so that you can see how your brow placement should go when you're using a pencil. I'm using a popsicle stick and I'm just placing it along the corner of the inner corner of my eye, straight along my nose. That's where your brow will start. When you tilt that popsicle stick and go through the middle of your iris, that's where your brow arch should start. And again, if you tilt it to the edge of your eye, that's where your brow should end. So those are your marking points. And then you can use I'm using this Anastasia micro brow pencil. It's wonderful because it has a like a marker like tip, and you can do these little hair like strokes that look very natural. It comes in different shades for blonde and dark brunettes as well. It also has a spoolie that you can use to make those little hair like strokes look even more natural and feather them in. So now we're going to go through and line our eye, and I am using shadows as a liner. I don't like to use liquid liners or pencil liners on anyone over the age of 40. I find it just makes it look like you're trying too hard. So I'm using just these two powders mixed together, and it's a liner brush, so it's an angled liner brush, just to apply it to my lash line. And that's basically just going to make it look like I'm wearing mascara when I am not. It's just going to give that outer edge of my eyelid a little bit more definition. And the powder is going to be really soft and natural looking, so it's not going to look too harsh. So I'll do the other eye as well. And then once you have your liner on, you're ready to take off those lower eye pads. And I like to actually just use them. I swipe them as I take them off to just kind of clean up any of the shadows that might have fallen underneath my lid, or if I had a little bit of a messy line there, that'll just help clean it up. So now it's time for the face. And I'm using my concealer. Now you can use your concealer after you apply your foundations, but your concealer should match your skin tone. It can be one shade lighter than your actual skin tone, especially if you're using it to brighten the under eye, which I am doing. I'm using the Too Faced concealer, and it's also something that you can purchase at Sephora, and I use that along my eye, the outer corner, inner corner of my eye, and just along, I do have around my, and so anywhere, you want to touch anywhere that's like red, and also you did notice I put it along my T-zone, and that's just to help brighten up those areas, because those would be the areas that we would typically want to highlight anyways. So I'm just blending that in to make sure it's nice and smooth before I apply my foundation. And for your foundation, I'm using the Makeup Forever HD. I get this one at Sephora. And I love the Makeup Forever because it has so many different shades. Charlotte Tilbury has a beautiful line of foundations as well. They're pricey, but it's a good investment, especially if you're not using foundation a lot and you just use it for a night out. But these foundations, they really sit nice on the skin, and like you want to have something that really, really matches your skin tone. Now, if you find that you are going to go for a cheaper foundation, like just something from Shoppers Drug Mart, you might find that you're in between a shade. That means you need to buy both of those shades, and then you need to find out what ratio you are of that shade. So that's just a little tip to know that, you don't want to be buying something that's just, oh, it's close, but it's a little lighter because it's going to make you look ghastly and white. You don't want to buy something that's a little close but a little darker, because that's going to make you look like you tanned in your face and nowhere else on your body. So you just want to make sure that your foundation really matches your skin. This is my absolute favorite go-to everyday powder. It's a baked foundation by Laura Geller. So it was actually a liquid that was baked. It has several different swirlies of colors in there. This is the light color, and it actually just looks like it just helps blend in your skin so perfectly, so flawlessly. If you wear this on its own, it just really helps even out your skin tone. But if you wear it over top of foundation, it gives you that really nice finished look. So I love, love, love this baked foundation. She also has a more high concealer baked foundation as well, which is you can use the cellulose sponge that comes with it to actually wet it and use it like a liquid. I'm just going over top of those areas that need a little bit of extra coverage with that baked foundation. Now, this is Laura Geller's full face palette. It doesn't include the foundation, but it does include everything else that you need for your makeup. So you've got your shadows on the top. You have your highlight, your concealer, not your highlight. So your highlight and your bronzer and your blush as well. And this blush is a beautiful color. It's great for all skin types. I'm going to show you where to place the brush. Now, I am touching my orbital bone. It's right like below my eye, and you want to go up as high as possible, as close to your eye as possible, because we don't want to even go anywhere near that area below the orbital bone, especially on women over 50. It just drags everything down. So we want to lift, 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 and make sure that we look younger, not older, and the placement of your blush can make all the difference. So now I'm going in with that highlighter. There is a daytime highlighter and then a nighttime one that's got a little bit of shimmer. So I'm using that shimmery shadow. I'm going right above that blush, and then just kissing that eye right below my eye, and then I'm kissing my nose, my forehead, and my chin, and right above my lip, just with that highlighter. Lastly, we're going to use our bronzer or our contour, and we're going right below that blush line. We're still on that orbital bone. We're not going into that caved area of the cheek. And then we're going to go all along the hairline at the top, and then a little bit along the jawline, just a sweep. And another little sweep on the other side, and then just kind of drawing straight line down our nose to just give a little bit of shadow on those areas. Again, can't stress how important it is to go in with a clean brush and make sure that you smooth and blend all of those lines to make sure that that looks like it's nicely applied. And we are just about done here. I just want to show you some options for false lashes if that's something that you're going to do. I will definitely be doing it. These were the ones I used for the show. Loved these. They were a short demi from Sephora. And then these are just some other options that you could possibly look at. They are a little bit more sparse, not so full, and they just look way more natural than some of the lashes that are out there. I am using the Grande mascara. You can purchase this at Sephora. It has peptides in it, which are great for anti-aging, and they're great for helping your lashes grow. I have noticed a difference, so I will continue to use it. And when you are applying your mascara, before doing so, if you have lashes that grow down, you're going to want to use a lash curler. I don't need to do that, but that's something that you'd want to do first. And then you can always apply your false lashes over top of your mascara as well. I can help you with that at the show if you need. So yeah. And if you need to make any cleanups or you make any mistakes, a Q-tip is your best friend, and you're just going to use that to clean up any areas that need touch-ups. Don't use your finger. You're just going to smudge it and ruin it, and then you're going to get really upset with yourself. So Q-tips are great at being your magic eraser. And I'm just going along where I applied my mascara to make sure I didn't have any little areas that I didn't want the wand to touch. I'm going to use a bit of powder just to smooth that in. And now we're going to add a little bit of color to our lips. So this is another Laura Geller lip product. It is a shade that is a couple shades brighter than my natural lip color, and it's just going to make me look like I have some lips on. You can use a liner as well if you really need to define your lips. I'm just going to use the lipstick just to give my lips a hint of color, and I don't recommend using a hooker red on your lips. We're going for a soft glam look, and that 2 shades darker than your natural lip color will just really make your eyes stand out more and be more flattering on you overall. And we're going to seal it all in with some setting spray. I'm using the Eminence Neroli Hydrating Mist, and that's it, all done. So hope you enjoyed, and if you have any questions, let me know.